The atmosphere of Left 4 Dead 2 thrusts the player to the brink of apocalypse without warning. Amid cracking power lines, burning cars, and distant screams echoing through deserted streets, a sense of hopeless waiting takes over. The game's story isn't told through direct narration. Instead, it unfolds in the details scattered around the environment. Notes scrawled on the walls of abandoned safe rooms, CDA emergency posters, and the desperate whispers of survivors silently convey the horror of the outbreak. Unlike other zombie games, Left 4 Dead 2 doesn't hand you a clear storyline. It weaves the narrative into every corner of the world and requires the player to piece it together. Graffiti, letters, and notes serve as journal entries, reminding you at every moment of the chaos that surrounds you and keeping you on edge. This silent, immersive storytelling is what sets Left 4 Dead 2 apart from typical zombie shooters. Beneath the chaos of Left 4 Dead 2 lies a mystery shrouded in uncertainty. The first known case of the green flu emerged in rural Pennsylvania. Thought to have jumped from infected animals to humans, it initially caused animal and human fatalities in isolated areas. Authorities downplayed it as a simple flu, offering masks and hygiene advice in an attempt to calm the public. In reality, the infection was spreading rapidly. Before long, violent outbreaks reached urban centers. People penned farewell notes on the walls of makeshift shelters, while CDA issued contradictory emergency bulletins. Although hazmat teams appeared on the streets handing out protective gear, the true scale of the disaster was never fully revealed. Quarantines were declared, roads were sealed off, and panic engulfed entire cities. Within 2 weeks, the virus began mutating into what the survivors called special infected. By around day 14, certain victims transformed into terrifying mutants. Hunters, infected individuals with enhanced leg strength, could leap from rooftops and climb buildings in a single bound. Spitters produced corrosive acid that they spewed at survivors, turning them into agonized cinders. Other variants like the Charger and Jockey emerged as the outbreak spread south. For example, excerpts from survivor communications mention the infection is morphing and new types keep appearing. With each mutation, the threat level rose, forcing everyone to realize this was no ordinary plague. Amidst this nightmare, our 4 protagonists remained inexplicably uninfected. Each carried a rare genetic mutation that made them asymptomatic carriers. Men, who only needed 1 copy of a recessive gene on their single X chromosome, were far more likely to be immune than women, who needed both X chromosomes to carry the gene. This slim genetic quirk became their only advantage. By the end of the story, a radio broadcast makes it clear that the final evacuation helicopter will only take those known to be immune. Everyone else, every man, every woman, faces a fate of uncertain horror. CEDA, the Civil Emergency and Defense Agency, was established as a federal response organization to manage large-scale disasters and public health crises. Think FEMA or the CDC in one. Since its founding in 1988, CEDA had managed to avert or minimize countless natural and man-made disasters. However, when the green flu struck, their initial efforts proved woefully insufficient. Posters went up advising people to tape their windows, build makeshift shelters in basements, and wear masks. Meanwhile, CEDA leaders privately decided to conceal the true speed and severity of the outbreak, issuing carefully worded statements that downplayed the crisis. Behind closed doors, they sanctioned policies to hide infection rates, restricting media reports, and refusing to disclose full casualty numbers. Law enforcement officers in plain clothes were deployed to disperse panicked crowds, many of these officers themselves succumbing to the virus in the ensuing chaos. By days 22 to 24, the U.S. military officially took over response operations, effectively sidelining a crumbling CEDA. The agency's collapse was cemented when New Orleans, once touted as a success story, was declared lost beyond any hope of salvage. CEDA's empty offices and abandoned emergency broadcasts stand as a testament to its ultimate failure. Left 4 Dead 2's story doesn't provide a neat closure. It ends not with triumphant music or a grand cinematic reveal, but with silent streets and a distant city skyline engulfed in flames. As our survivors make their way toward a distant bridge, the world around them is a testament to irreversible devastation. The only lingering thought for the player is there any hope left? Left 4 Dead 2 doesn't present its tragedy as a straightforward viral outbreak report, but as haunting traces left in the environment, smeared on walls, whispered in half-finished notes, and broadcast over broken radios. In the end, the game asks us to reflect silently on the grim legacy of a world that was lost to the shadows.